Hello, my name is Greg Sharp. I'm here to represent Adam and Laura Hoffman at 242 Clinton Avenue for a project that is a partial renovation of an existing home. And we've already been through the ZBA and the planning board. And so this is our third stop on the tour. So the house is an existing house. It's a very unique home where the house actually sits far below the street level. And the current house has an extremely steep driveway. The current house, the current configuration of the house actually has the kids' bedrooms based in the basement. So the concept and the main driver of the renovation was to basically pull the kids' bedrooms out of the basement and put them in a new addition above the garage level. This is the existing house, just showing the architecture of the existing house. And this drawing shows a diagram of basically what we're proposing. We're proposing to put in a new parking area at the top. Currently, there's really no place for the people to park except for along Clinton Avenue, which is kind of like a little bit of a dangerous curve. But the concept is that we're still maintaining their steep driveway, and we're adding a new addition above the garage. We're doing a partial renovation inside the existing home. We're expanding the deck, and we are opening up the view from their living room. So the current scenario has a beautiful view, and they have stuck a giant fireplace right in the middle of the view. So our proposal calls for pulling the fireplace to the side of the project in order to open up the view from the living room. Architecturally, as I said, we're taking the bedrooms that were basically down in the basement area, and we're converting this area into a playroom within the existing space. So there's no change in the envelope for the basement area. On the main floor, we are renovating the master bedroom en suite. There's just a slightly different layout than the current configuration. And as I said, we're pulling the fireplace off of the end wall. We're extending the deck, and we're moving the fireplace to the side of the great room in order to open up to the views. The entrance to the house is roughly in the same location that it was, based on just necessity of having to get to that location to access the house. So we have a nice, we're creating a nice entry foyer. We will be basically rebuilding the garage in the same location that it is currently. We're just doing some moves on the garage in order to accommodate the renovation above. So we're creating a new laundry room, a mud room on this level, a new entry foyer, and then the kitchen and this room is, and the general architecture of the house is remaining. So it will still have a gable roof. So the core of the house is still going to be what it is. And then on the upper floor, what we're doing is we're just making a 3-bedroom suite. I don't think it's called a suite, but a 3-bedroom renovation so that the kids can have beautiful river views and have their own sort of private area and their own bathroom. And the house is going to have a continuation of the modern flair, and has some architectural elements that I think will be beautiful, modern, and minimal. I know these look fairly blacked out, but they are supposed to represent a wood screen. I will get to the renderings. So the concept is that by building this new element, it will basically be the new front facade of the house, because of the position of the addition is actually above the garage. And so there will be, I'm sure there'll still be a river view because the renovation will still set relatively low on the site due to the elevations. But my belief is that this is basically what you will see from the street. So it's going to have a totally new effect. And the idea was to do something very nice and modern and minimal with that elevation, to not have something be overwhelming, but to have something just be very sort of quiet and modern and simple. That will basically become the new front entrance. And then some modern moves like natural stone walls and some cantilevered. On the other side of the house was going to have a wood screening that was going to encapsulate the 3-bedroom wing that comes above the garage. And then stone walls, basically leveling out the site a little bit. It still will have a relatively steep grade, but not as steep. It's currently at a crazy degree. I'm not sure if it's 45 degrees or something, but it's an extremely steep renovation. So the concept on this side is that we would move the fireplace to the side. We would open up this wall with glass in order to accommodate the view at the end of it. This is a view as you come down the driveway. So the same condition would exist where they have to come down this extremely steep driveway and enter into the garage. And I've decided to try to have natural stone walls sort of at those elements. And then the screening on the backside is just a soft wooden way to just sort of soften the form. And have some slats that would surround the addition on the upper floor. Yeah, I'm not sure why everything got so dark. Let me see if I can and I don't know if that really helps, but I mean, you get to see the screen as it juxtaposes with the windows behind it. So the idea is some parts of the screen you could see through, and some parts of the screen would have wood slats across it. Some imagery of what we're proposing that may help to understand. There's my old house. There it is. The wood screening. This is a house I did in the city with the steel, which really represents some of the architectural detailing. This is a modern house, natural stone walls, and gray stucco finish, white stucco finish, black aluminum fascia, metal roofing, and wood slats. Wood screening, basically incorporate the architectural language that we're proposing. It's an interesting project. It's a complicated architecture, but I believe that it'll be a successful project. Just due to the fact that it's basically creating a new element, a new front facade, a new piece off the front of the house that'll sort of be a very quiet addition, and then the rest of the house can remain and still function and not be just torn down and so reused, which is the concept also. It's not just to bulldoze the house, but to actually use what's there and what's successful and then renovate and add to it as needed. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments or concerns. Love to talk about it.
Thank you, Greg. First, I just want to make sure that Deepti and Eric are participating of this.
Yair, I'm on.
Okay, thank you, Deepti.
Sure.
All right, Eric, are you on? Okay, good. So let's open the discussion. Deepti, anything to?
And Brandon too?
Brandon.
Okay.
Brandon, Deepti, welcome to join the discussion.
Yeah,
Deepti,
sorry
you
to
wanna
have to
lead the
be
way?
remote.
Go ahead, Yair.
No, you start, start.
Um, there's a lot of stuff going on in here. I think on record, the concept is really good. I'm still digesting how you're using all the forms and materials to make this come together. I'm not so confident about the box at the top. I think I need to digest it a little more. Also, can you explain how this deck is going to work? Because it looks like there's no columns, it's all cantilever.
The deck in the back may be rendered missing a column, but it will have a column.
Okay.
It will not be a magical deck.
My structural engineer sometimes says.
Yeah, that's a good call. Yes.
Sky hook, it's called a sky hook.
Sometimes, the renderings are really representational just to give you guys a concept of spatially what they are. But yes, sometimes things are missed. But yes, we are not planning a massive cantilever. No, there would definitely be some steel posts there, but they would be set back probably in line with the other posts. But yeah, that's a great call. Let me see if, oh yeah, wow, they really are missing.
That's okay.
Greg, let's assume that we're going to have it in character.
There are columns there.
Other
That's
existing
fine.
thing, right?
Yes. I'm sorry. Yeah, we will have posts there. Yeah.
But the same character of the other ones, repeating the same.
I'm sorry, what?
In character with the other.
Yes, the same. We would extend the same structural system below that is on the house. The house has an interesting architecture that was done, back in the day. But it doesn't really, work that great since like they had created this as like the space under there is sort of like a living space. There's actually a fireplace that opens up onto that area. And it's, let me see if I have a picture of it.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the chimney, which like I said, is interesting, but it sits right in the middle of your view. So it just blocks your view. And the other point is that it has very low ceilings under there. So it's kind of not the best area to sort of hang out. It has actually, steel beams that sort of you could hit your head on, which are going to remain. So it's not, we're not planning on changing that, but the idea is it's not so much of a usable space, even though they've designed it as a usable space.
So the garage that's existing is below right now?
Yes, this house sits, really, let me see if I have a better section. This house has an incredibly steep, it's incredibly steep off of the road. And in fact, if you're standing at the road, you really only see the roof of the house. Even this is sort of from the garage area. So it's got a very steep hill that comes off the front. So, primarily this function of where to put the addition was for a number of reasons. One is to, utilize the views that they have. They have incredible views. And B, it's obviously much more affordable to add on to your garage and rebuild your garage than it is to, rebuild on top of your house. And so this is also an attempt at budgeting, which I'm not always my strongest suit, but we're going to try. But that was really the nexus of it, is sort of like where's the most cost effective but still beautiful, opportunity to do this renovation and solve the problem programmatically.
Okay.
Brandon, Eric.
Yeah. I mean, I at first passed it. I share fellow concerns about a lot going on and understanding how the materials tie together. I think from a streetscape perspective, I think the street view being minimal based on the grade change. I think there's a little bit more of an opportunity to showcase what I think is a pretty bold attempt on reusing a lot of the architecture, but trying to make the most out of it. I mean, the difference in grading and what would be the driveway and then the car park at the top. I think it's an interesting take, but I I think a lot of the feature of that bold architecture is facing away from that. It's just kind of a flat box surface with a door. So, I actually commend you on the approach. Again, I think there's a lot going on, and how that all ties together and really works is it definitely takes a little bit of time to digest. But because a lot of what is the view and what makes this unique is really not visible. And if you're gonna go bold, right? I think it's worth getting a little bit of that at the street to understand what type of a showcase house you could have there, even with the grade change. So it's definitely an interesting proposal and has a lot going on. I do think that the existing deck and obviously the columns and how that's treated and what that looks like, I'd be interested if there's any neighbors that have any comments regarding this as well, because
I believe they discussed the project with their neighbors, and I believe they're all very supportive of it. So I believe we when we went through the ZBA, I recommended to them that they, one of the most important things you need to do is talk to your neighbors and make sure you're not going to get a surprise at the meeting, which obviously happens. But you really hit that's really the concept is this is, oh, I'm so terrible with this. This is my opinion about what you're going to see. This is it. This is what you're going to see from the street. This is the architecture that's going to be represented. It will appear to be a lot smaller than the neighboring houses that basically start at the upper level and go up. So this house will probably sit a good 30 to 40 feet, or I don't know about below, but it will sit significantly below the neighbors' houses on both sides. And that's just a function of where it starts. And so the concept was to sort of give it that minimal sort of look. And so when you come across it, you kind of question it, like, what is that? Like what is this little box? It's not supposed to be, it's not supposed to read a traditional house. It's not supposed to be, it's not supposed to read as something large. It's supposed to actually read as something relatively confined and small. My original concept, they did not go for, which was basically I wanted the land to just extend out from the top and then to have a stairs that would go down into the entire house, but they rejected that concept. But I tried for some even bolder architecture. But that is the concept. The concept is to have something small and minimal at the top. This is going to basically create a new architecture for that house. And the idea is to make it be minimal, is to have it be understated. But you're correct. Once you put the whole assemblage together, there are some different moves. My feeling is you'll never witness this house from the side. At least no one will ever really come in and be able to, go down and look at the side of the house on either side. I don't think the house is visible from the rear side either. It's a very long lot, so the lot actually extends quite a bit. It's a couple 100 feet long lot. So the lot in the house is incredibly private, just based on its location on the hill. So I feel that this is basically this facade is the facade that's going to be the visible facade and will represent the architecture of the house.
What is the finish of the front facade, Greg?
It's a stucco.
It is a stucco. Okay.
Yeah, it's a stucco. It'll be a modern stucco. So I like a smooth finish stucco.
Smooth finish.
I like it to be I wish I could have an Italian stucco plastering done, but they don't do much of that up here. But I like a very smooth, hard stucco.
So I think my other comment would also be some of these retaining walls are pretty high in stature in nature, but don't necessarily have like a protective railing, even though they're, designating a planter. So, John, I don't know if that's something that you've had an opportunity to look at from a height perspective, but
Yeah. No, I believe
pretty
you're correct.
significant.
I would have to, as my understanding is anything over 30 inches tall, high above the ground would require some type of safety rail. So I agree. I'm not sure. This is like kind of like a car park curb. I guess I would have to have some type of railing on the side. I would opt to leave those open, not have them be solid walls. So even if it was a railing, it would still be, something that would, I would most definitely have a bumper, at the edge there. Just from a safety standpoint, you are correct. That would not be good to have someone drive down their lot. But
I think the stone wall leading somewhat up towards the entry door from that car park is also challenged by that.
yeah,
right?
this
Based
is
on the
not an entry
perspective
door.
view.
Yeah, there's no entry on this level. This is the kid's bedroom. So this is just a big window that views into the house. So the entry is still downstairs. And so the entry and the sequencing of the house is still the same as it is now, which is you have to walk down this driveway. They have some type of built-in concrete stair element that's part of their driveway that is going to be maintained. But currently the issue is that, people park their cars along Clinton and they have guests or people. So the idea is to just give that a little bit more room to just be safer condition.
So that window looks down the stairs that connect to the lower level, Greg?
Yeah, well, if you were perfectly aligned, yes, they look into that room. So they don't look into a room, they look into the hallway.
Into
So,
the
yes.
hallway, and then there's stairs that go down, right?
That's
From
right.
there?
That's right. Yep.
And
And that would be, that's an
very
architectural. Yeah,
That-
that's an architectural element like that. That would be somewhat
That
of an
one,
aligned,
yes.
that would be somewhat of like an aligned look. And I don't know. I believe I may have. Okay, yeah. So stairs, I am showing a skylight element over the stairwell as well. So the idea is to really have like a natural light filled corridor. The stairs is should be a beautiful element. They're long stairs, it's a lot of elevation to cover, to go from the different levels up to this level. So and the cantilevers on the design are required just so you can get your car underneath it. And so that was the concept, is just to make this element somewhat float over the garage area.
It's audacious. I think you're going from a no street presence, like you really, as it is, you can't see any house. It's actually,
Yeah.
I didn't know a house was there
Yeah.
until I met the people who moved
Yeah,
into it.
they're very nice. They have 3 young kids.
But and then what you're doing, you're going from no street presence to an inauspicious or minimal street presence, which I think is completely fine. And I also agree that views of the house from other elevations are going to be limited to neighbors, and it's a large yard, particularly in the rear. So I think that the lot can handle it. In terms of sky exposure planes, do you require any type of variances or anything?
I think we already handled the variances. I believe it was just a setback. This house was built prior to zoning, so it had a couple of feet of over the setback line. But that's the existing house, so we're in line with the same lines of the house. So it was accepted based on the fact that it did not extend any further than the existing house already extends. So we do line it up. This image kind of shows what, what the profile of the house is, next to the neighbor's house, the adjacent
I
house.
mean, it's in terms of sky exposure, like you're so down, you're so far below grade.
Yeah.
I don't see any issue with that at all.
I mean, hopefully it'll be an interesting element and, it'll add some interest to the block. And so that was kind of the concept, is just, modern and minimal and something that was not overwhelming to the lot.
That space, the space in front of the window there, I think there's some confusion. That's not really used yard or space. I think in one of
It's kind of
side
too
elevations-
steep. It's
steep,
it's
right?
too steep. Well, currently it's very steep, but it'll be less steep. But their yard is really in the back, but it'll be, landscaped. It'll be a landscaped area.
All right, so I guess the choice of materials is great. The skills of the facade articulation, compositions are very well organized and put together. The choice of materials, design is good. My only and also the presence on the street is interesting. It's I would say probably it's a reference. It sounds to me more like a reference to these houses, Luis Barragan houses, which is a minimal presence on the street and the house or the happening happens. Integrates into the landscape and nature and seems
It was a challenge. It's not an easy project. If I was allowed to bulldoze, it'd be very easy, but I was not allowed to bulldoze.
It's a nice house. I know the house.
Yeah.
I happens to. It's an interesting, and if this proposal does anything, it respects the dramatic views that Clinton offers. Clearly, this is as unobtrusive proposal or that you can find. So that besides the comments of railings, missing structural elements, etc., probably will be taken care. I have no doubts on that. I'm just looking if the volume as flat roof volume complements the house or not, and it's something I'll leave it to your decision, because the proposal we are talking about the volume on the on the bedrooms.
Yeah.
So you have a wall which is, let's call it the fence or the top of the facade, the new facade. And what's kind of misleading is that you have clearly the entrance of the wall, but it's not an entrance, it's a window.
Yeah.
So there's a misreading of the volume, which is,
I tried to put the entrance, it's kind of funny. It's like I actually tried to move the entrance up there to say, hey, it'd be really great because it's closer to the street, it's more accessible. And they were like, no.
So, but the reality, it reads from the street like this is the entrance of the house, but the entrance is from.
I didn't want 0 windows, so we have 1 window and very modern
But the decision that you made is to have volume opening.
Yeah.
And that opening to make it, if it was a balcony or something more of a element.
Yeah.
But it's on the gate.
They don't want their kids escaping at night. This is a perfect escape area. So this is the other part of it is, there's no escaping children.
That comment aside, it's still your project and your proposal, and you still have an element which is,
it greets you. It greets you. That's right.
And then you have the corridor or the circulation, the wall circulation and the bedrooms.
Yeah.
And I will say that if you keep the same mid-century, slope roof departed from, let's say, wall, flat roof, and mid-century probably will read a much better integration to the house in terms of you have the street, you make a fence, or we call it the wall, the circulation, which is integrated to the house, then the house that integrates to the rest of the house. Maybe it's a possibility, but I'll leave it entirely up to you. It's not that.
I looked at that. The client really wanted a modern,
We're talking about the modern. This is modern as modern can be.
Yeah, really, they really wanted something that was, something from now. They really, and the fact is like if I was just to stick the same gable on it.
But again,
if I was just going to have the same gable, like sort of extension on it, then that would, I think that it just wasn't going to be that exciting if I had that gable there with that.
I'm not talking about excitement. I'm just saying a clarity of the scheme, which is, and if you go to the section or to the plan, the floor plan, you'll see it clearly. But again, this is and you can have the same stylistic moves like the siding and the windows and the fenestration and everything that you can do. It's exactly the same. It will read, if you see the top elevation, that you see like the element of the wall, the fence. I don't even know how to, which stops the facade. Then you have the circulation, and on that elevation on the left upper right, you see it perfectly clear. That's the circulation that runs parallel to the street, to the wall. And then you have the next volume to it, which can be the first step integrating to the rest of the mid-century modern existing. But again, this is a suggestion. I think the house looks good as it is. I have no issues.
None of this. So basically, so this is being modified, obviously. None of this is being modified. This is all existing.
But it's like your proposal trying to tie into existing. I'm just making you suggestions.
Yeah.
It's up to you if you want to.
I have an additional question as well. So,
Go ahead, Ben.
so the reading on the elevation drawings, not the renderings, is it full height glazing and glass within those openings within the volume that's being built?
This you're talking about?
On the new edition, nothing.
These, I don't believe these open. No, they're fixed. They're too large to open.
So if you look back, I mean, it's full glass with a band at the curb and at the top, right? And I guess when you look at that in the elevation on the front view,
this form would wrap around. That's correct. So I think that's what you're asking. So these forms, the front forms kind of wrap around and they create like a solid volume. They just don't end at the edge. They sort of wrap around to the windows and then they start anew with the rear form. So this would break that form up.
Can you turn to the A4 in your proposed front elevation on detail one? So just the page up.
Okay. Which
so the detail one, your proposed front elevation. So that is one large piece of glass.
That's right. And it's supposed to be a break. So this would be like a black fascia and this would be glass. And so it would completely separate the two forms. And at this section, I would, modify the curb on the roof in order to sort of accentuate that difference. But yep, one monolithic piece of glass.
Okay.
I actually think the flat roof is very successful because, the addition is its own element. I wouldn't slavishly think that you might, I agree with Greg about not doing a sloping roof on that.
Yeah.
comments? Neighbors? Okay, so
I'm glad he's doing it.
we
Now
all,
I know where it's making. That's a beautiful. It's gonna be amazing. You drive along, I've always wondered, I'm driving along.
we-
Now I know where it is. It's. Congratulations.
Thank you.
all right, so I make a move to approve it. Seconds, the only in favor, I guess, Dipti,
Dipti,
Brandon.
Approved.
Brandon,
Brandon, you have to speak up because we need to know your
Yay.
words. Okay, Eric?
Yay.
So the only, please update the structural elements for the plans,
Structural.
the structural, the missing column.
Oh, yes, of course. Absolutely. Yep.
And that column will match the other, to match the existing columns, right? In
Yep.
character.
I will put I will put the columns in and make sure that those are correctly rendered as well. So I'll send those back.
If you also decide to put railings or bumpers or something like that, just make sure that you run it by the building department, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So good luck. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So the next item on the day is 54 Clinton Avenue. 54 Clinton Avenue. Okay.
I'm trying to do it. Okay.
Crystal, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
There I am. Hi, how are you?
Aye.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Perfect.
Great. I'm Crystal Pickard from Michael Lewis Architects. Joining me are Brandon Stewart and Michael Lewis. We're the architects for the project. Also joining us remotely are the owners, Ruby and Eli Iliopoulos, who are the rare and special client who truly appreciates the architecture of this historic building and they want to do right by it. This has, of course, housed the Women's Club for the last 70 or so years on the first floor with 2 apartments above. We're renovating the house to include 4 apartments, one of which the owners will occupy. So they will bring with it the care that's inherent to an owner-occupied home. The Iliopoulos have been so gratifying to work with. We've been really pleased by their decisions as we've been working through the design. They have a great eye for what to modify and modernize and when to hold back and let the architecture really shine. So, we have made an effort to modify the envelope only as needed. But of course, at 120 years old, this building wasn't really built for the 21st century. So we've made some modernizations. Let me go ahead and share my screen with you. Can you see that?
Yes.
Great. So I expect most of you are familiar with this beautiful old Tudor at 54 Clinton, but I'll go ahead and walk through it quick. So this is from the street. There's the turnaround in the front. A lot of beautiful wood trim that needs some love. That we will be restoring some of it, replacing some of it, but definitely being respectful of the language that's been set forth. So moving around, there are these porches with the brick piers that, again, we're going to keep with this language of the existing architecture. Moving around to the back, where existing small parking lot is back here, and you'll see we're adding a garage in the back as well to again make it a little more livable for a modern family. The rear of the house that we're going to clean up, and the side court right along the property line, as you'll maybe see in a moment. And there's some really great old detailing that we're going to clean up and work with. And then this is the back kind of bamboo patch where we're putting the garage. So this is a new plan. So the front yard, we're keeping the existing turnaround the same. We're the main entry will stay. So in that MDRH district, you know, the real goal there is to keep the sort of look of the big old estate homes with one main entrance, and that is exactly what we're doing. We'll be updating the landscaping, cleaning everything up, of course. And then the driveway continues back here, and it's existing up till about this point where we're going to add a few parallel parking spots to get our required parking in, and this garage in the back, again, for our required parking. We looked at a lot of different places to put this, and then this was really the only place that really made sense on the property to get the parking we needed, keeping as much green space as we could for gardens and all of the wonderful things that people want in their homes. And then we're adding the largest piece that we're adding to the building itself is the porte cochere and decks here around the back for the owner suite. You can park here under the porte cochere and enter their suite from the back here. The residents of the other apartments would most likely be parking back here and taking this path back to a side entrance here. They could, of course, if they want to enter from the front as well. It's a functioning entrance. All of our landscaping is native and non-invasive plantings. That'd be very beautiful. And here's the front elevation. I'll walk you through our thoughts on it. This is of course, existing up here for reference. We're adding, the biggest addition you'll probably see is this cross gable here, which we decided to add it to make the third floor much more livable. 150 years ago, people had different ideas about what ceiling heights were acceptable and those sort of things. But we're keeping with the original architecture, again, keeping a lot of the ornament trim, cleaning it all up. We're going to keep what we can, clean up what we can. Once we have a GC to really get in there, we'll know exactly, but we're keeping with the feel of the existing for sure. The existing entrance is remaining the same. Just going through the materials here, the brick piers, which occur, in this datum across and around the entry, we're going to lime wash to lighten it up, but we'll still get that a little bit of the red through. It's not going to be just like a flat white. It's going to have a texture to it. The stucco inside of these window wells, that is an existing feature over here, will be painted, cleaned up, obviously. We are infilling this bay here, if you can see in the elevation, as an office, and then this will remain as an open porch. So this and this will match it, create a little more symmetry around the entrance. We have this nice gray that will be our primary trim color. We'll have dark windows. That's what this is here. So the windows themselves will be dark. The siding will be a wood, probably a wood look hardy plank in a light, very light gray, dark white color here, with a nice medium brown roof. These, it's hard to see in these photos, but we are replacing these roofs and making them hips and instead of straight here, which softens this sort of long element to the otherwise square building. Coming around the side here. So this is our new porte cochere that we're continuing this pier datum that we've created. The two corners will be flanked with these white brick piers. This will be the owner suite's main entrance. And we've added a column element here. It was getting very heavy having these large brick piers all the way around the building. So this softens it up around the entrance. Like nice painted wood banisters, that sort of thing. Let's see here. This is that new cross gable that we added. The majority of the windows will be upgraded. They're quite inefficient at the moment, but they'll match the existing in style and feel. And we've been looking at munting patterns that reflects the historic nature of the building. A few of the windows we are keeping, these small historic windows that are heavily detailed. We're going to keep those and clean up the wood trim because they're really beautiful and special, and why not? And the finishes are up the same all the way around. Coming around to the rear of the house. So taking off some of the additions over the years, this set of stairs that goes up to a door that we've removed. The fire escape is gone. And then this is the owner's suite deck that wraps around on the first floor with more of those brick piers. The porte cochere is right here for reference. There's a new patio on the second floor for that apartment user. Nice painted wood, everything. And new landscaping, of course, and everything. And then around to the south side, that's that side that's sort of right up against the property line there. We're adding these two new dormers to again open up the third floor apartment. This is their kitchen, which is why we've gone with the smaller windows to keep them high for the counter. And then also sort of speak to some of the small window elements in other parts of the building. And then up on the fourth floor, this is in the attic to capture some of those Hudson bees and get a little bit of usable, interesting space up in the small attic for that third floor apartment. So these two, we're removing. There's a sort of a half chimney here that we're removing it. Again, this stuff in the back. So, we're cleaning up the back area. This will all be, again, the hardy plank. The stucco will be the infill to keep with that pattern from the front. And then, keeping a lot of those cool trim details. And the garage, of course, in the back, which will have the same materiality as the building, with the grays and the whites. The only new material back here is we have a small retaining wall in the back. It's way in the back corner of the property. That'll be this uniblock is what we're looking at right now. That's just a nice stone looking brick. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
Thank you, Crystal. Crystal, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. That's a very clear presentation, very thoughtful proposal, and a lot of considerations come into play. But let's start with.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the owners for buying this house. I know is on the market a long time. It's obviously requiring a lot of TLC, and I'd like to thank you guys. It looks like you've made some really tasteful choices in terms of needed renovations. A lot of these old houses are not really configured for modern tastes. So it obviously is requiring a lot of work, and you've worked quite hard on it. And I think it shows. I think it's beautiful.
Deepti?
Well, first of all, congratulations to the owners. I agree with Paul that this house had been on the market. We used to walk by it several times, and we're really hoping that somebody would buy it and restore it. You guys have done an amazing job. Congratulations to you too, Crystal, and the architect. Just a couple of quick questions. How many units are you going to have?
4. We're not maxing anything out, or I mean, I think we're by zoning we're allowed like 10 or something like that. So we're doing 4. The owner's duplex and 3 very nice kind of luxury apartments.
No, this is a beautiful job. Really nice presentation, Crystal.
Thank you.
And again, I wish you all the best. I think it's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brandon, Eric?
Yeah, I'd echo my fellow board members' comments, and just I was wondering if there was any consideration for an alternate roofing material. I understand. I'm guessing that that what's being proposed is likely what is also existing. You guys have done such a great job in what you're proposing here, and with the additions and in keeping with the existing house. And I just didn't know if there was any consideration for something in terms of a roofing material that made me more in keeping with the rest of how beautiful the house was, as opposed to just an asphalt shingle type application. I know it's the most cost effective, but
Yeah. I mean, like you said, you know, there's a lot of roof here, and it is a cost effective material. If you had some thoughts on what might be better, I'm all ears.
Well, maybe a variation in the pattern or color, or you know, I think you can maintain the type, but maybe there's some sort of alternating pattern that can be applied to give it a synthetic slate look or something to that effect may be beneficial.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you can use, coming back again to what Brandon was suggesting, Crystal, is a heavy duty roof. It's not that much more expensive, but if you go to a 50-year roof, it gives it a little more thickness and just a little more depth to it. So it might read better. And then if you can look at some of the architectural shingles, as Brandon was suggesting, I think it might, might just give it that little more.
Yeah.
Eric?
So that's my only comment. I think the rest looks beautiful.
Excellent. We'll look into that.
All right. So let me give it a shot. First of all, as I just said, it's a very complex undertaking, and it shows great results. I like very much most of the elevations. The east elevation looks like a very reasonable and very well put together. The north elevation looks great. The west elevation looks very nice. The south elevations, I have my reserves. I'm not 100% convinced, and this is the this is where I since we received these packages on Friday, right? So we have the weekend, and since this house is full of details that they would like to see and to walk the house, I would like to ask permissions to walk through the house and make a more informed decisions. In my case, just to get more familiarized with the details, and especially on the appropriateness of the south elevation. This is the type of areas and structures that requires me a little more than a 2-hour review. If that's my take. Otherwise, I think I join the boards in congratulating in the efforts. The garage they look great, but on my end, I would like to give it a second look and a walkthrough. That's my take.
Oh, okay. I'm disappointed to hear you didn't have a chance to look through our materials. We
Oh, no,
submitted
I did look at the
in
drawing.
mid-December, actually for the last meeting.
Oh, one second.
But yeah,
Crystal, I did look at the material over the weekend, but
course.
I'm gonna go and walking inside the properties that are not allowed, it's private property.
Of course, yeah.
We received this drawing. I received this drawing first time
I understand.
3 days ago. And that's me. It's not the board. The board can disagree with me. It's perfectly fine. I don't see a problem. I see only good things, but I would like to confirm that the site in my case. I don't know how the rest of the world feels, but
I'm happy to arrange a site visit if you like.
what again?
I'm happy to arrange a site visit if you like. Whenever.
I mean, the rest of the world can disagree with me. It's up to you.
I'm happy to apply the or to approve the proposal as it is, but at the same time, I know AHR's makes excellent suggestions and it sometimes notices things that can be improved upon. So my temptation is to, even though I'm ready to approve this as it is, maybe you can make some good suggestions that would be beneficial to the owners and to the architects.
Mhm.
I don't know what my fellow board members would say about that.
Okay. No, it's open for discussion. But before we move the ball along, I know that there's neighbors that they would like to make some comments. Why don't we engage in a conversation with neighbors and then make a form?
Also, Eric hasn't.
Yeah, Eric, you're welcome to join the conversation at any time.
I'm
Yeah.
James Kyberd. I've been looking at this house now for 37 years. I think you're on your way to doing a very wonderful thing here. I have a couple of suggestions. First of all, the garage. I think what you would much rather do is resonate the shape of the roof lines that are on that street, not the shape of the roof line behind the building, which are the hip roofs of the garden apartments. They're much more angular. I think you would benefit by a more angular roof line with gables at the end, not hips. And I would put in real dormer windows. I would also, from having worked on my property for many, many years, suggest if it's possible, adding a little area at the end of the building that would allow you to go up into the attic of the garage. So you could organize things, store things for your future. I think you're going to want to do that over the years. I've made a drawing of that, what it would look like. Is there any way to show it?
To the camera.
Where's the camera?
That's the camera.
Can you see this?
No,
Hang on.
No.
Can you,
that camera right there,
That one right here?
right there.
Does it show it all?
Yeah,
he's,
What?
it's an interesting way of doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's visible?
I can see it. Yeah, let me see it.
Take a look, guys.
Yeah,
You see what I'm talking about, right?
Oh,
'Cause
yeah, we
There's
understand.
no hips on that street,
We understand.
except for the apartments behind us. The other thing I would like to address are the dormers that are on the side, that are coming around. The characteristic of this architecture is that things that project from the roof do so pointedly. They don't do so softly with a hip roof, with a hip shed roof coming out. So I'm also proposing some dormer work, just pointed dormer work with hips and valleys, just to pop that and make it beautiful. It would come out straight from the house, not slanted off the house.
Well, this is one of the comments I made on the south elevation, the dormers. It's something that I would like to see them at the walkthrough. And that's one of the issues.
I've got drawings of the dormers for you.
Yeah, but you're welcome to suggest them and
See what I'm driving at?
yes,
So just
I
a stronger gable at each end of the shed.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. You got it.
I got it.
And then, and here it is also.
Yeah, right. That's something that the architect should be able to look at.
Okay,
No,
you
that's-
got it. And then on the
Well, then,
east elevation.
Of
it
course,
come
I
out
will-
straight.
right.
It works better, right?
we got it. I think it's something that we can discuss.
Okay. I'll leave these with you. They're
Mhm.
gifts for the neighborhood.
Okay.
And then I was looking at the north elevation, right, and wondering if maybe a little gable roof construction could be added in that new plane of roof that comes down, just to continue that the style of gabling around the house, because it's in the front, it's in the back, it's on the side. See what I'm saying?
Mhm. All right, so
But I promise you, if you put a really good pitched roof on that garage and create a little entrance up to it so that you can use it, you're gonna love it with real windows. It'll become a great place for you. Have fun.
thank you, guys.
Yeah.
It's up to the, let's see if this idea of the walkthrough is acceptable to the board. No, by no means I would like to impose on them. But it's something that I would like to have. Paul, your feeling about the walkthrough?
I think the walkthrough is a fine idea. Like I said, I think it's a beautiful design and very tasteful in some of the choices and changes that they made. But I think getting a better sense of what's existing and what they're going to do can't hurt.
Okay, Brandon?
I would defer to the applicant. I think I can make my own determination based off of the application in hand. So, I'm ready to vote today if requested.
Deepti?
Yeah, I think your suggestion of a site visit is a good idea. I will support that.
Eric?
Yeah, I think I'd support your suggestion of a site visit. The one comment I did have that was might have been kind of in hand with Brandon earlier, looking at the roof and the materials. Can you talk to me a little bit about the color scheme that you've chosen? It just seems to me that it's there's no like pop at all, and it's kind of all kind of whitewashed a little bit. And right now, obviously there's a little detailing with the red coming out, and some of the details in the woodwork. And you're going to be whitewashing all the brick essentially. So yeah, I just wanted to get a little more info and your thought process on that color scheme.
Well, there's so much detail in the moldings and the windows and the dormers, and like you said, there's different sizes of windows. There's a bunch of dormers that are doing different things. There's a lot architecturally going on here, and we wanted to let the building speak for itself. You know, this isn't going to be a white ticky-tacky tech box. And there's a lot of architectural detail. I don't. Personally, I don't feel that it needs a lot of extra color to make it interesting per se, because the building really speaks for itself. And that said, it's also an aesthetic preference by the owners, of course. And I think it's very soothing palette.
Okay, yeah, it just seemed like a very, a modern take kind of a color scheme on a very historic building to me, but obviously it's preference for the owners.
There's also going to be a lot of landscaping too, and we have a pretty diverse amount of landscaping with a lot of color and flowering trees and that sort of thing. So that's going to bring a lot of pop to the site too. Regarding the site visit, if we could jump over to that, we actually do have to go back to the planning board still. We've been there twice. They're very, very favorable to the project, but they wanted us to come to you before giving our final approval. So we will be sitting before them on February 3rd. So if you wanted to approve it tonight, we would still have until the 3rd before the planning board again to do anything at all.
Crystal, the only item that I'm reluctant to, not reluctant, would like to be reconsidered is the issue of the dormers on the south elevation, and of course in the impact of this on the sides. That's the only item that I see that doesn't quite cut it. It seems like the type of dormer proportion, I'm talking only on the south elevation, the types of dormers are foreign to the character of the house. That's the only item that I will kind of like to see it in person and see even, the neighbor suggestion writes along the comments I'm making. But that's the only thing that it will be unfair for me to say yes or no on something I haven't seen. Maybe it works, maybe it not. That's why I would like to go and see it. Otherwise, I think the choice of materials, landscaping, detailing, etc., it's quite appropriate and nice, commendable.
Thank you. And the windows will be black too.
Yeah.
Just to note, a little pop
The
there.
garage, I think that I agree with here the neighbors that I think that the garage typology might gain. You will benefit from a useful, usable attic space, and maybe in character also with the proposal. But again, that's the architect.
We'll have a look
you
at
guys
it.
are
Yeah.
you guys are the architect. At the end of the day, it's you and the owner deciding that. It's
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
that's fine.
Yeah, the owners would like to speak, I think, about the site visit, if that's all
Okay.
right.
I mean, we can do it on a Saturday morning, as soon as possible. We don't want to create a delay on the approval process either.
But we can promote them, right? Is it the owners who are raising their hand?
The owners and a couple other people.
Okay, great.
Hi, can you hear us?
There, that's, yeah. the
Yes.
owners.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for your consideration of our project. We're obviously very excited. We're long-term Dobbs Ferry residents, have attended a lot of events at the Women's Club, and not something we were planning, but it's very exciting to hopefully bring back what's a really special building. In terms of site visit, I heard an offer Saturday morning. We would be happy to do that. We're obviously very much looking forward to proceeding with the project, so we can meet at your convenience as soon as is possible.
Yeah.
Just to
How about this Saturday, 10:30, around that time?
that is
Perfect.
perfect. That is perfect.
I just want to though understand if at the site visit, we take into consideration what you have to say and adjust the drawings. Does that mean we come back to you in 2 weeks? How does this work?
If there is a change to the plans, we recommend you to come back, yes.
Could we though come back in 2 weeks is my question.
Yes, of course, we will, our goal is to expedite the approvals because I guess it's in everybody's interest to get this approved.
Amen.
Great. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you.
All right, so I make a vote to.
One person, sorry.
Okay,
Sure,
go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
Patty, can you hear us?
Yep, just Patty Steinschneider, 329 Broadway, very familiar with Clinton Avenue, between Wits End and the Kybirds. And I think what the Heliopolises are doing is remarkably wonderful and kind of like a dream come true. I think it's really terrific. They have been they've been waiting really for the architectural review board because the planning board hasn't wanted to act until this. So I don't see any reason that you guys can't wrap it up at least sufficiently so that they get approved by the planning board at the next meeting. And then I had one question about the what was actually being suggested about the roof material. Both Dipti and I guess maybe Brandon, were you suggesting a material other than asphalt shingles? Are you thinking in terms of like a synthetic slate or something like that? Because that would be pretty interesting. I mean, if you think about it, Wits End and the Kybirds are slate roofs. A synthetic slate on that could be very, very nice.
That's what was discussed, yes.
Yeah, that's something we'll definitely look into. Of note, if we do our site meeting on Saturday, then we can come back for the AHRB meeting on the 24th and still make our February 3rd planning board meeting. So that wouldn't set us back.
Yes. Yes, agreed. And I'll send an email to the planning board that what we are reviewing here are minor changes. I don't think that they're going to have an impact on the planning.
Thank you.
Okay, so and I make a motion to continue this application. Seconds. 1 second. All in favor? Thank
Aye.
you. Thank you. Everybody. All in favor. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
The next item is 23 Seneca Street.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And here's a point of note. I think the first application's applicant is now present
Yes.
based on comments
Yes,
on
yes.
Zoom.
We'll go back to the applications that we skipped to make sure that everybody is heard.
Okay, so. Good evening. My name is Natasha Walko. I'm here representing Opachich Architects on behalf of the Winiarskis in their project to renovate 23 Seneca Street. The existing building is a two-family residence on a small residential lot, very compact. Yep. Yep. Oh, sorry. Oh, great. Thank you. Right. So it's an existing two-family residence on a compact residential lot. And the object for the Winiarskis is to maintain it as a two-family, making the first floor an accessible residence for one of their aging parents, and the second floor as a residence to supplement income for the property. The main driver of the project, in order to be efficient with time and also budget, was to maintain the original building envelope and renovate the exterior to restore more of the character that would be in keeping with the rest of the neighborhood, and then make the plan for the interior floors more efficient in terms of use for an older resident, and then also more open plan living for a modern family or young couple situation. So go back to, I'll go to the, so here you see the existing elevations. The sides are a little oblique because again, it's a really tight lot. So in the front, the main change is modifying the porch to have it extend the full length of the front to really make that usable outdoor space for the first floor resident. And then we're maintaining, as I said, the main volume of the building. And as you go around, let's see, you don't want you. So, and the main driver in the back is to eliminate this second floor overhang that extends the living space and expands the volume of the building, but really doesn't add anything architecturally to the character of the building. So then scrolling down here in the sky exposure plane, you'll see, I mean, where we're breaking the plane here, that's obviously part of what the existing roof line is, which we're not changing at the front. And then you can see this here is introducing the elevation in terms of what we're proposing for the design changes. So as I said, expanding the porch to really embrace that whole front elevation, but also opening it up more so you have greater visual presence on the street, and replacing all of the windows and the doors and the siding to give it more of a craftsman-y kind of character. Carrying that kind of along the side. And then at the back of the property of the building, as I mentioned, we're eliminating that overhanging second floor extension and introducing a low deck at the first floor to, again, allow for an aging older person to have outdoor access and have easy mobility as much as possible. So now going to take you just quickly through the existing. Right, so here is the existing elevation. So you see the front with the smaller porch roof, which now we're extending, as I mentioned, where as part of what's proposed for the changes, we're eliminating these substantial dormers that are on the left and right, as well as this first one in favor of something that's more diminutive. And then in the back here is this portion here that gets removed with obviously the associated columns and supporting structure, as well as the deck. And the roof line is then returned to something that would mirror this front elevation. So you see that here in the back, and then the other side as well. Skipped. Existing floor plans. Here's existing, so this is part of what's now the attic floor, which is really not practical space in the building, and that's accessed from the second floor. And this is that portion that's overhanging that would be eliminated. And so here's the basement space, which is existing, which would remain essentially just for storage and mechanical as it is right now, although it's really yucky down there right now. And then the first floor, which is very kind of broken up with lots of small rooms and spaces, which we're opting to open up a little bit more, or at least make more conducive in terms of the flow for an older person and accessibility. So I'll take you now just briefly through the proposed. Right, so here's the basement, which remains essentially as it is. In the back, what you see here is just some piers for supporting of the deck. And then the first floor living space is opened up, discrete kitchen that's eat-in, bedroom, bathroom that's accessible to another, could be secondary bedroom or office space, and then access to the deck. And then, right, and then second floor space, which is accessed from a common vestibule right off of the front of first floor entry, has 2 bedrooms in the front, bathroom, and then the common kitchen, great room space with deck that also allows for outside awareness for the backyard, and the discrete little reading room that's tucked in under the roof at the attic level. And let's go to, and the exterior elevations, which I kind of highlighted a little bit as part of this sky exposure plane diagram, where we kind of tie the whole aesthetic together in this kind of discrete little cute craftsman bungalow that's been refurbished. In terms of the materials, we had everything called out here, and then we had submitted the cuts I can walk through, but the windows are intended to be Anderson windows and exterior doors, Anderson A series, nice dark brown architectural bronze sash with a base frame that will match the trim, dark blue hardy board siding, and medium brown tone roof to kind of tie all of those colors together, and a beautiful stone veneer to cap off the base of it. We have it.
Mhm.
So this is the medium brown, this is the brown, bronze color for the sashes, and the frame will be this color. This is the siding, sided in a smooth, so we go in terms of the face of it.
It's a Harvey plank, right?
Sorry,
Harvey plank?
yes, exactly. And then this
Decking,
is
yeah.
the board stepping, and then the stone and farm tile, yeah.
Great.
You look right at this one. Right, the one by the exit.
Can you see it, Henry?
There you go.
Get innovative today.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
Okay.
So happy to answer any questions.
I think that the extending the deck across the front of the house is an improvement.
Mhm.
I think eliminating that kind of large second floor addition in the back is an improvement. I think your color scheme is nice and smartly chosen. And I think it looks great.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Simple said. Deepti?
I agree with Paul. I think it's a really nicely done addition, and I think it's a great renovation. Agree with removing the appendage that was existing on the second floor with extending, right? That's the right word.
That's a very good way to put it.
And then extending it on the first floor. It looks like a great addition. Good job.
Thank you.
Brandon?
Yeah, I would agree. It's a very successful application, clear, good set of drawings, and really, the modifications being made are definitely an improvement on the existing house. It's a nice house, but I think this is executed really well.
Thank you.
Eric?
Yeah, I would echo everything everyone said so far. It's the extension of the porch and the cleaning up on the windows on the side elevations, really the symmetry really helps, especially with compared to what was existing. So yeah, I think really good job.
Yes, only a little bit of hair pulling on my part with the principal about that, but
So if everybody's in agreement, I agree as well.
Neighbors.
Neighbors? Right. So I was saying that I agree with everybody. Why not? And
appreciate that.
very nicely detailed, well proportioned, and I make a motion to approve it as submitted. All seconds, everybody in favor?
Approved.
Approved, yay.
Thank you very much for your attention.
Good luck. Thank you. And we can go back to
20 Lyman.
20 Lyman.
Anybody here?
Okay. I'm going to close out Hoffman. Very good. Thank you.
Good evening.
Hey, Christina.
Everyone hear me? I'm here
Yes,
with Suzanne Levine, the project designer, and we're here to respond to the comments that were made at the meeting, at our last meeting. And I wanted to say to the board that we have looked at all the comments you made, and we've made some changes. But I want to remind you that we're trying to renovate an existing house, and we cannot change the shape of that roof structure because of the budget that we have. But the additions are actually working off the existing structure. And we're trying to give this a fresh look, a more modernized look. And we're doing it in a kind of a playful way. At last meeting, we reviewed the drawings and all our materials. I also wanted to mention that this is a very small house. It started at only 15 square feet, and we're adding 781 square feet. So it's still a small house, and the shape that you're looking at with the dormers coming out of the main gable is an existing roof structure that we really are planning to keep. So I'm going to ask Suzanne just to take you through these changes and show you the presentation, since she knows the house very well. Suzanne?
Sure, yeah. Well, I think, we took a look at the elevations, and, we really just tried to improve the proportions and the trim details to pull the front facade together a little better. So I wanted to take you through some of the changes that we made. On the right, we have the previous submission, and on the left is our current design. First we lifted up the porch of the roof so that we have our fascia boards aligning, at the existing house over here, and also at the addition on the left. And we took the freeze board and stepped it and added more detail to articulate it a little more and to break up this big board that we had over here. I think an important change we made, the existing house ended here and we lost that line with the addition. So we've added this back. We're going to articulate the, the old wall of the house with trim, bumping out the trim about 2 inches or 3 inches so that this gable is rationalized a little bit more. Some other changes include a larger side light at the entry, which I think works better with the proportions of the porch. And we changed the proportions of the glass at the gable, elongating it a bit, which I think works better. And another change we made is to show the grade a little bit more accurately. On the left side of the house, it does slope up against the side of the house, which minimizes the height of the wall on that side of the house. And overall, we went around the elevations and really tried to simplify the trim, and just to quiet some of the busyness that might have been going on before. And that's really the main changes that we made.
Yeah, I think that the changes you made were pretty subtle, and I think that's all that was really necessary. I think that I actually think it looks significantly better. I think you did a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just trying to unmute. Hi, Suzanne. Hi, Christina.
Hi.
Yeah, I agree with Paul. I think that the subtle changes that you have made are definitely an improvement, especially the alignment, in the front. I think that helped. It seemed to be a little untidy before. Of course, one of my questions had been the new roof addition, which sort of has that awkward hip to the back, but I guess it's really not visible from anywhere, and maybe there's nothing you could do about it. I don't know if you looked into that. Yes,
we did. We studied it quite a bit, and this roof, is set back about I think it's about 26 feet from the front of the house. And as we discussed last time, we really, since we're preserving the existing roof here, we just felt that to get comfortable space in the back addition, we needed to bump up. And we're just hoping that this really reads as the front of the house, and this will recede in the back.
Yeah, so we're taking the opportunity to get a little higher ceiling space back there. And we think because it's so far back, it's probably, you hardly see that relationship really between the very front gable and then that piece at the back.
I'll accept that. That's fine.
Brendan?
So I hear I may have missed this one the first time around, so I'm going to specifically abstain because I think some of the rest of the board members have had time to review and have looked at this application before, and I believe I may have missed this initial submission. So as opposed to adding another opinion into the mix, I think there's the quorum can make a decision without me.
Fair enough. Eric?
Yeah, I agree with Paul. I think that the addition or the changes you made were subtle, but I think they are a market improvement. And I think you're right. It is important to keep in mind it's a small house, and and it's good you're keeping a lot of existing roof lines, and I think that this design is more successful. So great.
I'll go along with the board. I will accept the subtle changes. It's a small house, and we can make a vote to recommend this application as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Approve.
Yeah.
Brandon abstains. Right?
Same.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your
Thank
input.
you.
Appreciate it.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Night.
Brayside Lane. Anybody for Brayside Lane?
Nobody for 35 Braeside, no?
Looks like a pretty straightforward application.
How about,
Wow.
what's the,
There is their hand. Mine.
Hello, it's Lindsay Willis.
okay, go ahead.
Hello, I'm the neighbour at 13 Brayside Lane, Lindsay Willis. And the only question I had about the gate was, is there going to be a pedestrian gate on one of the sides for entering the property? And will the gate be automatically opening every time a vehicle approaches it? Because it is just 5 feet from my garage parking area, and I will need to be able to maneuver to do K-turns to get back down the lane. So I just trust that the gate will be automatic for opening, so that as I maneuver, the gate would open and allow me that extra few feet.
I'm not sure if I understand the constraints, but is Alex the owner of?
No.
And how about the, I understand that there is an easement here? that
Yes.
seems to be, that's been negotiated and agreed. So
No, it hasn't.
it hasn't.
No.
So I guess we need the applicant to be present to
Yes.
explain what's going on. So how about we continue this application for
We'll
the
have to
next
continue
meeting? And all neighbors welcome to be present when the applicants are presenting. We have a second? Second. All in favor?
Agreed.
Thank you. Welcome to join us next time. So that's it, right? We have it. Ready to adjourn.
That's it.
So I'll make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting. Second, Paul, all in favor. Thank you very much. And by the way, we'll see 10:30 on whoever wants to join for the walkthrough
On
at
Saturday.
Clinton.
Yeah.
Saturday, 10:30.
I can come.
Yep,
That would be great to see you.
Make it so.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, everyone. Good
Have a
night.
good
Good night,
evening.
everyone.